Hi class, this video is kind of to help you with odds and probabilities, kind of how to navigate them, how to convert from probability to odds and vice versa. Okay, so you could see a problem like Chang is playing a role-playing game with his friends. He will roll dice to determine if his player casts a spell. The odds in favor of his character casting a spell are 8/7. Find the probability of his character casting a spell. Okay, so we are given the odds in A and we need to convert to probability. When we're given the odds, we are given the odds in favor, the odds against. We are not given the total in odds. So we're given the number of outcomes in favor, the number of outcomes not in favor. So like the number of ways to win, number of ways to lose. The numerator and denominator could be flipped from each other. You need to make sure you read the sentence to know what is in the numerator, what is in the denominator. So it says the odds in favor. Since it's saying the odds in favor, that means our numerator is going to be in favor and our denominator is going to be against. So this means that the 8 is representing the number of ways to win. Seven is the number of ways to lose. Okay, we're saying the odds in favor of his character casting a spell. So this is the odds of him casting a spell. So to be more specific, the 8 would be the number of ways to cast a spell. And then the 7 would be the number of ways to not cast the spell properly. Okay. And again, make sure you read the sentence. So it says in favor of casting the spells. So that's telling you what the numerator is going to be. If it said against, then these would be flipped. The 8 would be the number of ways to not cast it. The 7 would be the number of ways to cast it. Okay, so when we're finding probability, if we're finding the probability in favor of, we're going to do the number of ways to win over the total number of outcomes. If we're doing the probability of this character casting a spell, we're going to do the number of ways to cast a spell over the total number of outcomes we have. So in our odds, since the odds of him casting the spell were 8/7, that means 8 then is the number of ways to cast the spell. That will be our numerator. The denominator is going to be the sum of 8 and 7. So when we get odds, we're always listing the number of ways to cast a spell and then the number of ways to do anything besides cast the spell. So we're given the total number of outcomes in this fraction by adding the 8 and the 7 together. So my numerator would be the number of ways to cast a spell because I'm finding the probability of his character casting a spell. So that goes in the numerator. And then my denominator would be the total, which is 7/8. And then I would simplify this to 8/15. And that would be my probability. So I have the number of ways to cast a spell over the total number of outcomes, which is that 8 and 7 added together. Okay, now let's say you're going backwards. So a child has a box full of color building blocks. If he chooses one block without looking, the probability of choosing a green block is 9/14. What are the odds against choosing a green block? Okay, so now we're going to start with the probability and we're going to work to the odds. Let's start by dissecting the probability we're given here. So the probability of choosing a green block is 9/14. So that's our probability in favor of. So this 9 is representing the number of ways to choose a green block. 14 is representing the total number of outcomes. So 9 is the number of ways to choose green. 14 is our total number of outcomes. So it'd be the total number of blocks we have in the box. Total number of blocks. Okay, so just remember when you're given the probability, you're going to get that numerator is going to be the total number of ways of the probability you're looking at. So this is the probability of choosing a green block. So the 9 would be the total number of ways to choose a green block. The denominator in the probability is going to be your total number of outcomes. So here we're choosing blocks out of a box. So the 14 would be the total number of blocks we have in the box. Okay, we want to know the odds against choosing a green block. So if we got 14 total blocks, 9 of them are green, that means 5 of them are going to be anything besides green. So to find not green, you would take the total number of blocks, subtract out how many are green, so you get 5. So we have 5 blocks that are not green. We want the odds against choosing a green block. So this is going to be our numerator. These are the number of ways to not choose a green block, the odds against choosing a green block. So that would be our numerator. And then our denominator would be the number of ways to choose the green block, the opposite. So on the numerator, we've got the number of ways to not choose green. This is not green, number of ways to get not green. And then this is the number of ways to get green. And then so odds, you list what you are looking for in the numerator and what you don't want in the denominator. We want the odds against choosing a green block. So we put the number that's not a green block in the numerator and then the number for a green block in the denominator. So our answer here would be 5/9. And remember, odds, you do not list the total. So notice 14 was not listed here, but my numbers do sum to 14. So in odds, you don't have that total listed, but your numerator and denominator should total to that 14. All right, guys, I hope this helps. Let me know if you guys have any questions about odds and probability.